For all the fellow real estate agents, and even when I mentor my agents, I tell them you have to learn as much as you can. Unless you have the knowledge in your back pocket, you cannot apply it for your clients when it comes time. Issues with roof or issues with foundation, you need to have some experience on general contracting practices. You're not expected to be an expert. Basic understanding of the entire supply chain. How does it work? See this as a full-time career,
Mhm.
and they have to focus energy on it, and only then you can see good results. Building relationship and doing your best to sustain that relationship. And for an agent, you are your brand. I mean, if somebody calls you, they call you for your expertise, and you have to be able to stand by your service.
One of the easiest things in real estate is just to find a house that you might want to offer on. That's not really, with the internet anymore, that's not the most important job for a real estate agent.
I have a follow-up question for the previous one. It's not a question basically. So there are a lot of people in our group, right? There are 400 plus people in the group, and there are a lot of real estate agents as well who probably look up to you and admire you, and they want to follow the same path that you have taken and became successful. What would you like to suggest them for being a successful agent and broker?
Oh, thank you for saying that. First thing is, you will be respected only when you have the knowledge. Knowledge is what is respected. Experience is not respected. What if you're experienced and if you're a jerk who are not willing to share the knowledge? You're not respected. So I think the first thing is, for all the fellow real estate agents, and even when I mentor my agents, I tell them you have to learn as much as you can. You have to listen to podcasts, go to conferences, pay some money, get some additional education. I've been through coaches who helped me be where I am. So, unless you have the knowledge in your back pocket, you cannot apply it for your clients when it comes time. It will not happen to you suddenly that, okay, now there is issues with roof or issues with foundation. You need to have some experience on general contracting practices. You're not expected to be an expert, but you're expected to find the source of the problem and guide the client on where they have to go if there is a problem like that. So you having basic understanding of the entire supply chain, how does it work? You have to know, like for new builds, the best representation is you knowing how the builders work with their vendors. What happens to the warranty? What if there is a problem after 5 years? What if there is a problem after 10 years? How can you approach the problem and help your client with register of contractors? So all of that comes into play with new homes. So education and informing yourself, it's just impossible to know everything,
Yeah.
but at least making an effort to be educated is what I found to be what most successful agents do.
Well, and just ask questions, because even after 20 years, so you don't know all the answers. What really people that are inquisitive and not afraid to investigate and ask questions are probably really going to do a really good job, and they're going to work well and collaborate well with others. But there's no way to know everything. You have to ask questions no matter how many years in business. It makes me laugh every once in a while when you get an agent that's like, I've done this for 30 years. And you can talk to an agent that's done it for 10 years that knows just as much, if not more, because they're more inquisitive and they're constantly challenging themselves to learn more.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, at the end of the day, the agent should see this as a full-time career,
Mhm.
and they have to focus energy on it, and only then you can see good results. They should not be in for it just for the money.
Mhm.
Then it will not work. It will show, it will be obvious when they are working with the clients. You know that they are working, doing it for money. Of course, everybody has to have a livelihood, they have to make money, but that cannot be the priority number one, especially when you have fiduciary, you have to represent the client properly. So I would feel educating yourself and all of that, and then having a mindset of building relationship and doing your best to sustain that relationship. See, I created my brokerage with my name, and the inspiration was Anne.
Mhm.
Her brokerage is called Ann Adams and Associates. And then I started my brokerage just after Ann, and I called Ann saying, Ann, I don't know if you remember this
Yeah, no, I
conversation
remember.
15 years ago. I asked Ann, what should I name my brokerage? Should I call it Home This, Home That? And she said, put your name on it. You stand for it. You have all this expertise and knowledge. People should know that you're proud to have your name as your company's name.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. You are your own brand. And for an agent, you are your brand. I mean, if somebody calls you, they call you for your expertise, and you have to be able to stand by your service and your expertise.
Yeah. One little side note to that is one of the easiest things in real estate is just to find a house that you might want to offer on.
Mhm.
That's not really with the internet anymore. That's not the most important job for a real estate agent is to find you the house. It's the negotiating, it's the skills during the inspection period, it's the communication on other questions you might have, it's digging a few layers deeper,
Mhm.
it's helping you after the sale when you have your first thing break and they might have a great vendor to refer to you. It's the person knowing what to do when something goes wrong. So those are the higher level skills that an agent has. It's not just looking on the internet and saying, I want to see that house.
Mhm.
That's not the only job of a real estate agent is to do that. In fact, a buyer can kind of do that part, but it's the rest of it that's really important to have knowledge on.
That's a great point. I like how Anne has said, wherein it's just not about finding the house, it's about giving a complete experience of knowledge. If something breaks, what do you do? Or house maintenance tips. What do you do if there is this problem, that problem? I mean, you should be able to advise them properly.